Wow, wasn't that fun?
Shall we begin?
I knew we was going to beat them clowns.
Fire away.
Holy Toledo!
Faith Radio.
Play around with a bad football team, bad things happen.
9 to noon.
Buddy, JJ, it's Paul Allen. Welcome to a radio station all the kids call KFAN. What's going on, JJ?
So good to see or to hear from you, PA. It's going great for me. It's a great time to be a Minnesota Vikings fan with all the offseason news coming out and with all the great things that are going to happen for this team and with the up-and-coming and rising greatness of JJ McCarthy, who is definitely going to get his opportunity maybe sometime later in the season, or, you know, that'll be decided when it gets decided. But great time to be a Vikings fan.
He's JJ! He's JJ, as in JJ, at JJ Vikings via Twitter. You're still out Massachusetts way, right?
Yes.
And for those not familiar with you, how old are you, and how did you become such a big Vikings fan?
I'm 13 years old, soon to turn 14 in August, specifically August 20th, and how I became a Vikings fan. So I was 5 years old. It was about the 2016 season, and I was introduced to football by someone pretty close to me. Realistically, he's my stepdad, but I call him Dad because my biological father passed away when I was really, really young. So he introduced me to football, and once I really started watching the games, I remember it was a Vikings-Cardinals game, and Cordero Patterson was still in his prime, so he returned a kickoff for a touchdown, you know, like he normally does, and that was just incredible for me to watch. You know, it got me addicted to watching the Vikings and seeing more great Cordero Patterson plays. I mean, he was amazing.
Now, JJ, he not only is on Twitter doing a lot of Vikings type work, but with YouTube, you have multiple YouTube channels at JJ Vikings via Twitter. Tell us about your YouTube channels and like what people can see there.
Oh, my YouTube channels. Well, what I try to do when I record a video, I try to get them on all my social media pages. So, I can't really say that whatever you're going to see on my Twitter, you're going to see on my YouTube, because, you know, the platforms still have their own advantages and disadvantages. But what I can guarantee is that every video that I upload, I try to get them to all my social media pages to make sure that all the fans from all those ends can get all the content they need.
Lots of pizza stuff in your Twitter feed. Do you love pizza, or are you just looking for something to do?
A little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of both.
What's your favorite kind?
Pepperoni, but I also like pepperoni and pineapple minus the ham.
And you can learn a lot of stuff, you know, with Twitter interaction, or like the crazy nature of what like people like on food, like hot dogs and pizza and stuff like that. It's for a 13-year-old young man, it could be very eye-opening, right?
Absolutely.
What grade are you going into?
I'm going into 9th grade.
Right on, man. How's the summer going for you? What do you do during the summer outside of produce elite Vikings content?
I like to do swimming. I like to go swimming and do like whether it's at a party, whether it's swimming lessons. Since I took those last Now I know how to swim, or at least how to survive in the water.
Uh-huh.
And it's worked very well for me in my advantage.
Who is your favorite current Viking and why?
I'm still going to go with Justin Jefferson because not only is he the best wide receiver in the NFL, he's got the one of the kindest of hearts. Willing to go out of his way to help fans and to be with fans and to continue to be a great fan favorite player. And I was a Vikings fan long before he came onto the team. Well, if you think 5 years is long, but honestly, I think that he's a very, very nice human being and a very, very nice NFL player. So he deserves all my respect.
At JJ Vikings via Twitter. At JJ Vikings via Twitter. Please follow him. He's there at 4796. Be cool by the end of this interview if we can get him up around 5,000. Follow JJ Vikings at JJ Vikings. Do so because he's an intrepid and enterprising, impressive young man who loves the Minnesota Vikings and is very honest with his commentary. When it comes to your favorite Viking, you said Justin Jefferson. All right, that's cool and not super surprising, but it surprised me a little bit because I thought you'd say Cam Beasley. Because I know you have a high level of respect for Cam Bynum.
Oh, man. Now I feel so bad. Cam Bynum. I still love Cam Bynum, And like Ben Lieber said when he was doing analysis, like post-game analysis for the Vikings-49ers game, the same game that Cam Bynum had 9 tackles and 2 interceptions, including a forced fumble. Cam Bynum, like Ben Lieber said, he's been doubted his whole life since he was playing football in Southern California in high school. I believe it was high school. And since then, he's risen up to the challenge. In week 9 of 2021, his rookie year, he got an interception against Lamar Jackson. Yeah. Then the week after that, in week 10 against the Chargers, he sacked Justin Herbert, which is very hard to do, actually. And Cam Bynum, he's been giving me all the hype, all the respect on Twitter. And, I've been wanting to pay it back to him as well. So it's been back and forth of respect and just love for each other. And I'm really glad that, I made a Twitter interaction with him. And now, I guess you could say we're buddies now.
Yeah, he loves you. Hey, JJ, you said the future looks bright for Kevin O'Connell's Minnesota Vikings. What would lead you to believe the now and or the future looks bright for your favorite football team?
I would say that with the team that the Vikings have put together, the team that the general manager, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, has put together. And when you have veterans on the defensive side, like guys like Jonathan Grenard, guys like Blake Cashman, Andrew Van Ginkel. And by the way, for Andrew Van Ginkel, I thank his wife, Mrs. Van Ginkel, for recently following me on Twitter. That was nice. Mm-hmm. So Andrew Van Ginkel, Brian Flores knows him from Miami with the Dolphins. They spent some time together in Miami. Mm-hmm. And Jonathan Grenard, kind of like a mentor to Dallas Turner. And then on the offensive side, a rookie quarterback with the potential that J.J. McCarthy has, you want a guy like Kevin O'Connell to coach him. You want cap space. You want veteran quarterbacks to lead him. And I feel like the Vikings have that kind of support that most other teams really don't have. And we now have a running game with Aaron Jones to take pressure off the quarterback. Ty Chandler's still looking pretty good. And Cam Akers might be coming back if he passes his physical. So I see a huge upside for the Vikings.
Do you know who follows you? Because, I know you look at Twitter occasionally. Adam Thielen is on about 10, 15 minutes from now. Yep. He's balling with the Carolina Panthers these days. We get that. But Adam, salt of the earth, I would imagine when he was playing here, you absolutely loved the way he played the game.
Absolutely.
Was he one of your favorite players? And what are some things you liked about him?
He's a guy that I really love to meet because, he's got all the wonderful Mr. Minnesota qualities. He's committed to the Vikings like he was when he played on them, obviously. Excuse me. And he also kind of, I feel like he kind of shows a bit of love for the Vikings despite being on Carolina. I think he's still a true Minnesotan. And the fact that he's still, I hope that he retires as a Viking. That's the one thing I hope for. Like, kind of like Kyle Rudolph, where Adam Thielen, once he's no longer on Carolina or once he retires, he can go to Minnesota unretire for a day and then like retire a Viking. That's what he's got to do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the way he played, like I'm talking when I was like 6 or 5 years old, that guy was fast, and he was only a special teamer, but he was fast. You know, whether it was being a punt gunner or a special teamer, whether it's the Josh Metellus role, but I don't think he necessarily played that role because, you know, it eventually became offense and special teams. But what inspires me the most about Adam Thielen, he's undrafted. No one ever seems to remember that, considering how much of a star he is now. He was an undrafted rookie, you know, and back when he was a kid, he was seen as some kid in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Not everyone believed in him, but of course, just like Cam Bynum in Southern California, Adam Thielen in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, rose up to the occasion. He ignored the fact that he was undrafted because he wanted to focus on being a star, and that's how he got his 50th touchdown reception against the Lions in Week 3 of the 2022 season.
Are you going to any games this year? Are you going to make it to any Minnesota Vikings games this year, young man?
I am trying my hardest to get to the home opener against the 49ers in Week 2 of 2023. 2024, that season. This upcoming season, obviously. I'm trying my very hardest to get to that game. My mom's handling the plane tickets, and we're trying to handle the game tickets, we're trying to get connections for the game tickets. So hopefully that works out. I think it will, though. I think it will, because I love to go to a Minnesota Vikings game and meet some people.
We absolutely have to beat the Giants week number 1, right?
Right.
Right, because, I mean, look, you just mentioned it, man. You got San Francisco the next week, and then how about week 3? I mean, the Texans are good, JJ, with your guy C.J. Stroud, but they're also coming back here with Stephon Diggs and Danielle Hunter. I mean, that thing right there is good enough to eat.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Danielle Hunter, he's known to eat, man. Whenever he gets sacks, man, he's known to bring his full commitment. And I've always loved Danielle Hunter too. He's one of my fan favorites. He's one of the guys that I've seen play for multiple years, and what an idol. You know, most of these guys I want to meet that I'm mentioning, you know, the guys that have been around maybe even longer than I have, I think. And I'm talking about longer than I've existed, not longer than the time I've been a Vikings fan. And, you know, guys like Adam Thielen, Danielle Hunter, Harrison Smith, you know, I want to meet those guys, the guys that have been playing on the team for lots of years, the veterans, the guys who show love and commitment for the team. Those are guys that I can respect. You know, I can respect the entire team, as a matter of fact. You know, they're amazing people.
Hey, JJ, at JJ Vikings via Twitter. Kiddo, what kind of record do you think the Vikings will have this year?
You know, I feel like I'm trying to stay average whenever I say 10-7, but I'm really looking at 10-7. You know, I'm not just trying to make a safe guess. I really think 10-7 or higher.
At school, so we're leaving middle school, we're going into high school. So, like, at any football fans at your school follow you via Twitter or follow your YouTube work?
The assistant principal of my school does.
Ooh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, especially if you get yourself in a little pickle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What would you identify as like a single team strength? Like what part of the team do you know is going to be good?
I know that. Let me see. Why it's harder than I thought. I think that the pass rush I know is going to be good after making that shocking but incredible move of signing or drafting Dallas Turner, and then I think signing him after, if he hasn't already signed the contract, to use him as a pass rusher, to use him as a guy who's got that speed, you know. And the Vikings left tackle Christian Darrisaw mentioned that when he saw Dallas Turner zoom by on a spin move, he reminded him of Danielle Hunter, maybe even faster. So I think it's going to be an upside for the pass rush and for the defense.
Hey, will you root for Kirk Cousins now that he's playing for the Atlanta Falcons? Because I know you liked him a lot when he played here.
I'm a Viking no matter what. I'm a Viking no matter what. So if we're playing against Kirk, you know, we're playing against Kirk. If we're playing against him, he's an opponent. and, you know, I want to beat opponents.
But what about when he's not playing the Vikings? Do you want to see things go well for Kirk, or are you 13-year-old? He's JJ, and you're kind of like, nah, I don't care about him anymore. Just let him languish in Atlanta.
I was looking that way, but I think I'm still going to root for Kirk. I think that, you know, I definitely want him to beat the Saints. I want him to beat the Panthers, the Buccaneers. And I want him to win his division. I want him to succeed. But would you really take Drake May over Justin Jefferson, or Kyle Pitts over T.J. Hawkinson, or, you know, Bijan Robinson over a veteran Aaron Jones? You know, I don't know, you know?
Yeah, but you got that cash thing. That was a lot of money, young JJ, wasn't it?
Yeah, but without a Super Bowl. And with only one playoff win in 12 years.
Okay, all right. JJ McCarthy, young JJ, you in closing, you mentioned him out of the gate. I know you're excited about him. I remember following your Twitter related stuff after they drafted him. If JJ McCarthy does not play at all this year because he's a young 21 and say Sam Darnold works out quite fine, you going to be okay with that, or are you going to be sad because you want to watch J.J. McCarthy right here, right now?
A teensy bit sad, but I really want to see Sam Darnold succeed. You know, people say that he's never had the support staff that J.J. McCarthy's having, or that Sam Darnold's having right now. You know, he's got a great team around him. He's got the best wide receiver in the NFL around him. I want Sam Darnold to work out. That's only going to make J.J. McCarthy get better. Once he sees a veteran succeeding and going forward, J.J. McCarthy could be sitting on that bench taking notes, you know, honestly, because if you keep on mentoring this guy and keep on preparing him, and one thing I love about Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi is that they don't want to put McCarthy out there until he's fully ready, because with the Vikings staff, it's rather safe than sorry, you know. Always rather safe than sorry. Always overly caution, and that's good. That's good because you don't want something to happen.
What are you working on for Twitter or YouTube that we can see maybe today or sometime this week? What you got up your sleeve, young JJ?
I think I'm going to be doing some more shows. You know, I'm going to be inviting some more people. One of the people is actually going to be Miss Alyssa from Vikings Twitter, who's going to be on my show today. And time and date still pending, but it'll happen. And for the Vikings fans on Vikings Twitter, hopefully you're looking forward to that.
I'm proud of you, little buddy. Tell your mom I say hi. Thanks very much for coming on the radio show. And I'll probably call you right in front of the season, you know, after we're most of the way through training camp, just to see what you think, okay?
Thank you so much, PA. Appreciate you. Always will.
Yep, sir. See you later. That's at JJ Vikings via Twitter. 13 years old, going into high school, lives in Massachusetts, dominates Twitter and YouTube. Follow him if you would be so kind. At JJ Vikings via the X machine.
I can't argue with anything he said either.
It's tough.
I'm kind of pumped for the 2024.
10-7. I mean, it's like somebody asked me at the racetrack a couple of days ago, what do you think the Vikings record's going to be this year? And I said, well, there's a lot of change, and Cousins is gone. I think I'm going to go conservative, 14-3.
I always love that one.
Walked right up to the Vox box, then to the bathroom, and here we are. Thank you, TimberTech and TimberTech.com. What's on deck 9 to noon includes former Vikings receiver, one of the greatest in the history of the team, Adam Thielen, is next for a Covenant Catchup. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. You're listening to 9 to noon on FM 100.3 KFAN.
First and 10 from the Saints 45. Madison, the tailback. Play action for Kirk from under center. Straight drop. Kirk trying to win it to Thielen. Caught at the 5. And he stopped at the 2. Cousins, Thielen, 42 on the Saints. First and goal. Vikings from the 2. Yes, Kirk. Cousins, well done. Down 3rd and 13 from the 15. Empty backfield. Seattle blitzes again. Kirk steps up. Flips it to the end zone. Touchdown! Vikings! Adam Thielen with his 4th touchdown this season Madison's Thielen. Boom!
Hey, 19, what's going on there, AT19? How you doing, Adam Thielen?
What's up? Good to talk to you again.
Man, it's so great talking to you and great texting with you over the weekend. Adam Thielen, Carolina Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen, and welcome back to Minnesota. Have things been well?
Things have been great. Yeah, it's good to be back in Minnesota for a month here before training camp. It's been a busy month trying to fit in, seeing everybody and kind of catching up. But it's always good to be back in Minnesota.
You just love summers up here, don't you? I mean, if you're playing down Charlotte way or if you're playing at US Bank Stadium, no matter where you're playing, the state means a lot to you, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it means everything to me. Obviously, growing up here, born and raised, I spent 33 years in the state of Minnesota. So definitely holds a huge place in my heart, and it's always good back. I mean, my kids love being back, seeing friends, and kind of reminiscing, and so again, it's always a special place to be, and especially in the summers.
Do you get up to your native Detroit Lakes much? And hopefully, I know your dad's name is Pete. Your mom's name is Jane, right? Is it Jane?
It is. Yes. Yeah. We get up there once a summer. Now that I'm playing still, we'll continue to get back. Usually it's just for a weekend or so, just because, we only get a month off before training camp starts. But yeah, it's always good to be back up there. We've been doing some kids camps through our foundation the last few years, which has been awesome. Getting on my old high school field, that really brings back the memories. So really, really special for me to get back to Detroit Lakes and see all the people that really were influential in my path and in my journey. So really cool to be there.
Adam Thielen, are you playing catch with anybody today that subsequently we'll see all over social media and it'll go viral?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that to be as crazy as it was, but yeah, not today. But I'm sure we'll get a few more sessions in before heading back to training camp. It's always good to get around other NFL guys and just be able to. You can really gain ground when you're working with guys that have the same mindset, same goals, and are at the same level as you.
If J.J. McCarthy were a Major League Baseball pitcher, he'd be a fastball pitcher, right? I mean, that fastball's no joke.
Yeah, I mean, he's got all the tools, that's for sure. I mean, he can sling it. He's super accurate. We're in shorts and t-shirts out there, but yeah, you can see a lot just from accuracy, timing, and those kind of things when you're running routes on air.
How did you guys meet?
Oh, I was just trying to find someone that was in town that could throw. Usually we have a decent group of receivers, or running backs, or CJ Ham fullback, baby, running routes out there. So just trying to find someone to throw, and heard he was in town, so I got connected via text, and
wow.
It was great that he was in town. Usually it's tough to find guys that are in the state of Minnesota in the NFL to be able to throw. So it worked out good. Yeah,
that's super sweet, man. And you've interacted with and been friends and or teammates with so many different types of players and types of people during your decade plus career. Correct me if I'm wrong here, because this was the feeling I got with McCarthy when I first met him. He's just very engaging. I mean, he looks you in the eyes. You can tell it's authentic. I'm not going to put a born leader tag on him, even though I do believe it'll be true, but he's just a very engaging, authentic guy. Did you feel that?
Yeah, he's a great kid. I mean, you don't really realize that he's 21 years old when you're talking to him, when you're hanging around him. He's got a maturity about him that you can tell that goes beyond his age. And, that's step number one as a quarterback, right? To have that maturity level, to have that kind of poise or kind of that aura around you that, just feels like confidence and just a good person. So I've really enjoyed being around him for the little time that I've been able to be around him, and excited to kind of follow his career.
Adam Thielen, one of the great receivers in the history of Minnesota Vikings football, now balls with Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers down Charlotte way. A little Covenant Catchup here. Adam, nice enough during his downtime to join 9 to noon. And I'm sorry I didn't text this to you during the course of the last season, but I've been meaning to ask you for several months. What with the Panthers, What's home and road chapel like with that team? Is it much different than up here, or do all teams like nights before home or road games? Do they all kind of do it the same?
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but yeah, still same thing as far as on the road, night before the game. We had the same two speakers, where in Minnesota, Pastor Tom would bring in a guest speaker pretty much everywhere we went. So that was probably the only difference. We had two chaplains. One was more of a music guy, so we actually we were able to get some worship in, which was really cool. And hopefully can continue to do that, because I thought that was a really cool way to do it, just because, you don't get to go to church and worship on Sunday. So the fact that you get some music, he would actually sing and guys would get in and worship with him, which was pretty cool on Saturday nights before the game. But we had two speakers, and then the other chaplain was more of a speaker, led a church as well, and just both great people. So they kind of handled the chapels on the road and at home games. So very similar there. Did some things differently as far as going to someone's house once a week with the couples and anybody who wanted to come for more of like a Bible study. But yeah, it was great.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Your new coach, Dave Canales, what do you think?
Yeah, honestly, didn't know a lot about him coming in, once he got hired. But when he did get hired, I kind of heard through the grapevine that he was just kind of high energy, young, kind of just passionate guy. And it's been really cool to get to know him, get to see him as a head coach, because yes, he is energetic and he has a lot of passion, but he's just this calm, cool, collected guy that just doesn't get, nothing really raises his temperature, I guess you could say. And he just stays the same guy every day, day in and day out. He's out there working out harder than anyone. I mean, he's cut up more than probably anybody on the team. And he kind of brings that mindset of like, hey, if you guys are in this thing, I'm going to be in this thing. And it's been really fun to be around him, how he handles the quarterback position, how he handles his coaches, and his hiring of coaches was really cool to see. Just a bunch of guys that believe in what he believes in. They bought into it. And then they're going to bring that same energy and passion about football and about being a good leader that he does. So it's been really cool. Obviously, every year throughout the league, or throughout my time, you have new coaches, you maybe have a new offense coordinator, and you kind of start to just see what works, what doesn't work. And it's just really fun to kind of get to know these coaches of who they're going to be when times get tough, right? Right now, everything's easy. Everything's good. But what are they? Who are they going to be when times get tough and things aren't going our way? What kind of leader are they going to be then? And you can kind of see the kind of things setting up for, how they handle those things and why they have their process the way they do. So it's been fun.
Amen with that, ma'am. And you're one of the most competitive people with whom I've ever worked, over the course of many years. So with that said, I mean, last year just must have eaten you up, right? I mean, you didn't win many games. The quarterback can play, but he's a rookie quarterback, so therefore there are going to be bumps in the metaphorical road. Your offensive line got all jacked up. Did it work on you last year?
Yeah, it was probably the biggest growth I've ever had as a person, as a player, ever in my life. Just because I had to be the person that I say I am day in and day out. I had to kind of check myself at the door every single day because things weren't easy. Things weren't going smooth. I think as a leader sometimes, or as a player, when things are going good, you just think like, I got this thing figured out. Like I'm a great leader. I'm a great player. I'm a great teammate. When things are going bad, and they're going really bad, you find out truly who you are. And so I think it was a great test of who I was as a leader, who I was as a player. And every single day before I got in that building, when I was in my car parking, getting ready to go in that building, I had to check myself and say, all right, like, who am I going to be today? And it was kind of like this like little pep talk going into the building every day, because I knew that I had to be that guy to have a positive mindset, to have a positive attitude, to show up and bust my tail. Because if I wasn't that person, things could go downhill fast. So I think it was a great blessing for Bryce as well, and a lot of the guys on the team, just because handling that adversity, I think it obviously isn't easy in the moment, and it sucks, and you got a lot of scrutiny around the league and all those things. But now I think in a few years when Bryce looks back at that moment, he's going to be, man, I grew so much ground. I got so much more mature. I learned myself so much that I gained so much that I'm so glad that happened. But yeah, back to your original question, it was a tough year. It's never fun losing. But I'm excited to keep building. Obviously, as a competitor, you always have this like positive mindset of like, oh man, we're gonna have a great year this year. We're gonna build on it, and we're gonna have a chance at really, I said before the season last year, like I feel like going to Carolina, I had a chance to win a Super Bowl because I thought there was direction going forward, right? So when that doesn't happen and you don't see that progression, it's tough. But I'm excited to move on, and it's the situation I'm in, so I'm excited to see where we can go this year.
Bryce is very gifted, isn't he? Like when Bryce is hitting on all cylinders, what do you really like?
Well, it's fun to see him this year going into OTAs, because now you rewind, you look back to OTAs last year, and first of all, he didn't show up until, obviously after the draft, 2 weeks after the draft. So that's cutting into like half of your off-season training pretty much, where other guys are learning the playbook, they're learning their teammates, all these things. It's crazy to look back at. Now he's going into year 2. He's got so much more confidence. You can tell that he believes in the system. He believes in what the coaches are teaching him, because they're teaching him the why behind it. They're not just saying, hey, you got to do this because this is what we do. It's like, no, this is what we do, and this is why we do it. And you can just see his leadership ability, his just like confidence around the building. Because I think as a rookie, especially at quarterback, you kind of almost get thrown into like, hey, like you're a starting quarterback, so like you got to be our leader. And so, but it's like it wasn't necessarily earned, or like it wasn't proved that you are a leader. So I think this year, like he's able to just go out there and prove it, and to show it, and to earn that respect rather than just like thrown into it. And yeah, he's got a ton of talent. I mean, obviously you saw what he did at Alabama, and had a lot of success in his high school days and his college days. So he's got it in there. It's been really fun to be around him this off season, and excited to go into training camp and see the progression, not only of him, but our whole team. I mean, a revamped offensive line, added pieces at receiver, defense that is very familiar with the scheme, going in the second year with the same defensive coordinator, defensive staff in general, who I've just loved being around, even through the craziness of last season. And I just think that there's a lot of positive vibes. And again, it's all positive around everyone in the league right now. Thinks they're a great football team, but I'm really excited to get back in the training camp.
AT19 Adam Thielen with a casual conversation and a Covenant Catchup with just a few more coming on this beautiful Monday. And it's opening and beautiful and just quite honest when you said last year, because of the difficulty of it was perhaps the greatest growth year, personally and or professionally you've ever had. And it made me think that when you guys played the Vikings, you probably had to bite your tongue very late in the game after you double moved Murphy and scorched him right down the middle of the field for what would have been a massive late touchdown, and the rookie missed you. You had to bite your tongue on that one, didn't you?
I'm actually surprised. I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm surprised you saw that one. But yeah, it was. We had a great design play that I kind of just felt like they were going to run cover zero in that situation, kind of game on the line type of deal. And so I kind of ran with the coach. We had this kind of schemed up for cover zero. It was a great play. You could get the ball out quick, but it kind of just threatened what they do on cover zero. And so I kind of told coach like, hey, this is the time to do it. Let's go. And it was tough because, yeah, it's tough to bite your tongue at times, but at the same time, like, shoot, when you go look back at the All-22 or you go watch tape as a receiver and you see what the quarterback's dealing with, it gives you a totally different perspective on what your thoughts are in the game, right? Like, you feel like, oh man, I killed him, I'm wide open. But then you go look back at the tape and like quarterback doesn't even see you because he's getting smacked in the mouth, right? So there's a lot of those moments that like, yeah, you got to bite your tongue, you got to go back to the film room, you got to go see it, see what they're going through, and you can talk through it, right? But yeah, I mean those things don't just happen to rookie quarterbacks. I mean, there's times throughout my whole career with veteran quarterbacks that you kind of like, you know, you lose your cool a little bit as a receiver. You're like, man, what are you doing? Throw me the ball. You know, that play was designed and we got open and things like that. But there's just so much. That's why it's the greatest team sport there is. There's so much that goes into it. You got to have the offensive line, the running backs, the receivers, the tight ends, the quarterback, all on the same page and all in the same rhythm and timing. And it's not easy. So especially when you do it at that level and games on the line, things like that. So yeah, but I definitely remember that play. Definitely.
My man, 103 catches, 1,014 yards last year. Holy cow! I mean, you still have some years left in you, don't you? If you want to continue it.
Yeah, I feel great. I just I'm so blessed to be able to come out of the season healthy and just be able to train right away again after the season was over and yeah, I feel great physically and mentally. Other than having to chase around 3 young kids, that's grinding me pretty good here in the off season. But other than that, I feel great. I enjoy coming to work every day. I can't wait to get to practice and be around the guys. And there's just something about, you know, being in that locker room and going through the grind together and being able to help guys out, being a leader, that I just absolutely love going to work. So, until that stops, I'm going to keep trying to play and make a difference. And I'm sure my time's winding down a little bit, but yeah, I'm taking it 1 year at a time and enjoying it. And as soon as the love for getting up early and training and doing the dirty work, as soon as that love goes away, I'll definitely be hanging them up. But hopefully not anytime soon.
Adam, do you ever look at retirement from the game as kind of scary? I mean, like, wow, I may never hear the roar of the crowd again, and like, what am I going to do with all this time?
No, not necessarily. You know, I think just had so many amazing moments in my career, been around so many amazing people, players, coaches, staff. I mean, people part of the organization. People that are just around the organization like yourself and so many others, that no, you know, I don't think I'm scared of retirement at all. I will embrace that. I've kind of, you know, I think early in your career, you know, you hear the numbers, right? You hear like, oh, the average NFL career is 3 years, 3.5 years. So you kind of prepare yourself for the end because you just never know, especially where I came from, undrafted, unsigned. Like, yeah, you're like, okay, well, if I make it a few years, that's great. And so you kind of always prepare yourself for the end. And I've always kind of done that and given everything I have to preparing for the season, but also knowing that, you know, I'm gonna give everything I have. So I know that when I am done, that I've left it all on the table and I can feel good about that. So yeah, definitely not scared of retirement. I'm sure it's coming soon, but I'm definitely going to enjoy the time that I have right now and lay it all out there.
That's beautiful, man. Last one, and I like to ask people in the game about this because everybody's still confused. Any idea how this goofy kickoff situation is going to work?
Yeah, I've seen it in practice, and then obviously seen it a little bit with the UFL or XFL, whatever they got going on now. But yeah, I think it's fine. I still never forget running down on kickoffs and making those plays. So I still have a little bit of that in my heart of just traditional kickoff, going after, you know, with the 5-yard, 10-yard head start running and going down there, flying down there and getting hit in the face. But yeah, I think it'll be good. It'll be interesting to see how teams use it to their advantage. I'm sure everyone right now thinks that they have it all figured out, but I'm sure it'll adapt over time. And I would assume there'll be a lot more running backs back there, guys that have those kind of skill sets because it's more vision now and running through tackles more than it is just straight flatline speed and the ability to cut and pick up speed. I think it probably extended or made my guy Cordero Patterson some more money. because it's a perfect fit for him. So I'm excited for him because I'm sure he'll be taking some to the house this year, hopefully. Not against us if we play them.
Adam, God bless you and your family. I tell your mom and dad, if they're not listening now, that I say hello. Up to Troy Lakes Way. I miss seeing them at road games and lobbies of hotels. Tear it up at training camp, my man. And thank you very much for the time. Have a wonderful day. All right, Adam?
All right. Love talking to you as always. We'll talk soon.
Yep, you too. See ya. That's Minnesota Vikings immortality, one of the greatest receivers in the history of the squad, AT-19. He's Adam Thielen. Around the corner, Vikes Bites. After that, Judd Brackett, the director of amateur scouting for the Minnesota Wild. He'll help us analyze and assess the Wild's draft that has come and gone. We do that here at KFAN.
Vikes Bites.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. Vikes Bites is presented by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef. It's a Clearwater, Minnesota company. They serve up elite grass-fed beef products. You can go to Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed. You can find them in Coburn's locations, your local co-ops, and they support Dinkytown Athletics. So they're trying to keep local athletes local as well. So love Thousand Hills, love Vikes Bites. And I wanted to start off, I wanted to get your take on something, PA. We discussed it on Saturday during the Saturdays with Sauce show, noon to 2 on Saturdays, whenever we decide to actually do the show. Looking ahead to training camp and the preseason. During his tenure, and this was, of course, with Kirk Cousins, the starters, for the most part, in the preseason aren't getting reps. They aren't playing games. It would be the joint practices in which most of the starters for the Minnesota Vikings are making their hay. That's where we figure things out. But during preseason games, you're going to see a lot of Jaron Hall. You're going to see a lot of Nick Mullins. And that's how the vibe has been. And we saw that kind of even into their tenure. Hey, this is how McVay does it. This is how the Rams do it. Will Kevin O'Connell do something similar? And yes, in fact, he has. So now we have 21-year-old J.J. McCarthy, and then we have a veteran reboot in the form of Sam Darnold. So my question to you is, do you anticipate, because of course we have joint practices with the Cleveland Browns, so that's going to be awesome, and Stefanski, the shores of Lake Erie, everything going into that. But do you anticipate potentially Sam Darnold being treated like the starter and not playing in preseason? Or would you expect to see some sort of mix or concoction of both, given that we are not necessarily as stable at the position as we were with Kirk Cousins?
Excellent question, because when you carry 4, which they have now, that's a preseason game playing conundrum.
Yeah.
At least as you start. And we only have 3 preseason games. So it behooves the team to play Darnold in the preseason. And that's my opinion. And I believe it will be, kind of like 2018, Cousins' first year.
Yeah.
We're at Denver in his first preseason game. It was the Bursic.
Oh, put him on ice.
Put him on ice.
I've seen enough.
We've seen enough. At Denver, my man rolls down the field, looking like a cross between Johnny Unitas, Ken Stabler, and Vince Ferragamo. And he got the reps with certain teammates in a quasi-game-like situation. So, yes, Darnold, I would be shocked if Sam Darnold, like in the first preseason game here against the Raiders, it's your only home preseason game. So, I mean, you're not mandated to play him because the home fans wonder what he looks like and how he plays and everything. And I'd be shocked if Justin Jefferson saw the field during the course of the entire preseason. Addison too, maybe, but and Aaron Jones, how much will he play? All that factors into Darnold because you want him to play and you want him to get the game reps in the offense with the new calls coming into his helmet. However, the players with whom he'll be playing aren't necessarily the ones, A, with whom he's practicing full-time or the majority of the time, and B, what the Giants game is going to be like. So it's an excellent question because it's a conundrum. I would lay it out now as Darnold into Mullins, and then you have the rookie McCarthy and the second-year guy, Jaron Hall. McCarthy has to play in the preseason opener against the Raiders. He has to.
Yeah.
He just has to. And just let it be a quarter. Just let it be a quarter and change or whatever.
Maybe that is the bit. Is it's Darnold first quarter, it's Mullins second quarter, or maybe half a quarter and then you come out of the half.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's $9 beer night.
Yeah.
It's only home preseason game.
Yeah.
People are still ushering back down to their seats.
Yeah.
And they're old number 9 rolling out onto the field. That's how it has to happen.
Throwing dimes to Lucky Jackson against the Raiders' third corner.
Thomas broken tackle.
Thayer Thomas double move against the Raiders' third corner. Touchdown, Vikings.
Nick Muse.
Yeah. It's Nick Muse.
Vikes Bites, presented by Thousand Hills. Last bit for you here, and then we'll move on to the Minnesota Wild next segment. $25 million-ish in cap space. Might be closer to 26. I'll admit this. I did not know until I talked with Alec Lewis that teams can actually declare and roll over. I don't know how, like if there's a max or a cap on it. I know there's a minimum spending. There's a spending floor to that as well for a team's cap. But rolling it over. Now, in discussions with Alec Lewis, you kind of want to add somebody. Is it too late? Maybe, and maybe this is a camp conversation. Once they get pads on, get people going. He kind of got me excited about Robert Woods. And he got me excited about Robert Woods because he was talking about the idea that Houston, given Stephon Diggs is there, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, they got a lot of young guys. And I think his cap number is somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 or $8 million. That it's been rumbled about that he could be a potential cut candidate because of the money. Now, Robert Woods, okay, we're talking about third receiver. We're trying to replace KJ Osborne. We got JJ in the mix. We got Jordan Addison trying to build on a 900-yard rookie season. So, where the ball's going to go to, of course, TJ Hawkinson will be healthy. Robert Woods is one of the elite run-blocking wide receivers in the entire league.
Says who?
Says his statistics. Via Pro Football Focus and people that analyze the game, he is an elite run-blocking wide receiver. So, are you interested in the idea of, with that cap space, potentially adding somebody at a wide receiver position, adding somebody interior D-line? He got me excited about Robert Woods, a one-year deal, not a long-term thing at this stage in his career. But the idea of adding Robert Woods to the team or somebody to help fill some stopgap opportunities with this roster.
Where's he going to play? Thayer Thomas.
I always love that one.
I mean, and I'm joking around with this name, Thayer Thomas. I adore Thayer, and I'll never forget.
He's got a cool story, too. The walk-ons, and just he's been on a grind of a career.
How about his preseason debut against Seattle? I mean, he's dropping punts. I mean, it was a disaster for him, and I felt so bad for him, and that's where I first met him, in the locker room after the game. I should know this, but O'Connell and Woods had time together with the LA Rams, right?
Yeah, it was a year or two overlap. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, the thing with the Woods piece is I didn't know that about his run blocking skills. Like, I guess outside of Allen Lazard, I don't really hear much about run blocking receivers in the NFL these days. So,
I hear he's the best since Laquan Treadwell. That's what's been bounced about from a run blocking prowess standpoint.
Pro Football Focus has him better than Hines Ward and Danquan Bolden, so I probably should subscribe. But he knows how to play the game. So that it's if he's healthy and if O'Connell digs him, from a personality standpoint, it's he's a bigger guy who knows how to play the game. But so does Brandon Powell. Now Brandon's not bigger, but he knows how to play the game. You got N'Keal Harry who moved over to tight end, and that's he's gotten himself bigger too. So
picture the 5 tight end sets this season.
Unbelievable. It'll be like the 49ers with Tom Sula when they beat the Vikings opening night on Monday Night Football using all those tight ends, including Blake Bell. But if the angle itself, the speculation itself would play into some bigger receivers, bigger bodies, and the 49ers tie in the copycat league. It's, when N'Keal Harry, I don't know if you were here or not, but when they moved him to tight end, first thing I'm thinking about is, all right, well, it's the 49ers with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings is one of the best run-blocking receivers in the NFL. And Deebo and Ayuk, they're also really good at it, too. So it's a prerequisite to be a receiver for the 49ers that you need to care about and block the run. Perhaps that's being elevated here. And if so, then I guess Robert Woods would fit nicely. Speaking of fitting nicely, some of these kids who eventually will play for the Minnesota Wild, hopefully they fit nicely into the State of Hockey program. And Judd Brackett, the director of amateur scouting, he'll join 9 to noon next to chat about them on KFAN.